Hello and welcome to the Mindful Zone. Today we embark on a journey together, a journey of discovery, reflection, and transformation. Whether you're here because you've heard whispers of Buddhism's timeless wisdom, or because you're seeking tools to navigate life's challenges with greater ease, you've come to the right place. In this video, we'll explore how Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness can help us embrace life's difficulties, not by running from them, but by meeting them head-on with courage, clarity, and compassion. These practices aren't reserved for monks or spiritual seekers. They're practical, accessible ways to enhance your well-being and enrich your daily life. Now, before we dive in, let me set the tone for what's ahead. This isn't about perfection or achieving some lofty ideal. It's about small, consistent steps toward living more fully, authentically, and peacefully. You don't need any prior experience with meditation or Buddhism to benefit from this session. If you're new to these ideas, think of this as an open door, an invitation to explore something that might just change the way you see yourself and the world around you. Over the next 2 hours, we'll unpack 10 key chapters. Each one will offer insights, techniques, and reflections designed to help you reduce stress, cultivate inner calm, and develop a deeper sense of connection with yourself, others, and the present moment. We'll begin with the foundational teachings of Buddhism, then move into practical meditation practices and mindfulness exercises. Along the way, I'll share stories, examples, and guided moments for you to pause and integrate what you're learning. As we go through this, please remember there's no rush. You can pause at any time if you'd like to reflect, journal, or simply sit quietly with the ideas we're discussing. This is your space, a sanctuary where you can slow down, breathe deeply, and reconnect with what truly matters. So, take a moment now to settle in. If you're sitting, notice the sensation of your body resting against the chair or cushion. If you're lying down, feel the weight of your body supported by the surface beneath you. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. One more time. Inhale deeply and exhale completely. Good. Now let's set an intention for this time together. Why are you here? What do you hope to gain from this exploration? Maybe you're looking for relief from stress or anxiety. Perhaps you want to deepen your understanding of mindfulness. Or maybe you're simply curious. Whatever your reason, honor it. Trust that your presence here is meaningful and that even a single insight can ripple outward, touching every area of your life. Before we move forward, I want to acknowledge something important. Life isn't always easy. There are days when everything feels overwhelming, when challenges seem insurmountable and solutions elusive. But within those very moments lies an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to discover strength you didn't know you had. That's where Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness come in. They provide not answers, but tools to help you navigate uncertainty, meet adversity with grace, and find joy even in the simplest of things. Are you ready? Let's begin our journey. Together, we'll uncover how ancient wisdom can illuminate modern struggles, and how these timeless practices can guide you toward a life of greater peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Chapter 1. Understanding Buddhism. The Path to Liberation. To understand how Buddhism can transform our lives, we must first step back and look at its origins. More than 2,500 years ago, a young prince named Siddhartha Gautama lived a life of luxury, shielded from the harsh realities of the world. Yet, despite his wealth and comfort, he felt a deep sense of unease, a longing to understand why suffering exists and how we can transcend it. One night, driven by curiosity and a desire for truth, Siddhartha left his palace behind. He embarked on a quest to uncover the root causes of human discontent and to find a path to lasting happiness. After years of searching, studying under various teachers, and practicing intense asceticism, he finally sat beneath a Bodhi tree and vowed not to rise until he had discovered enlightenment. And so it was that Siddhartha became the Buddha, the awakened one. His realization wasn't supernatural or otherworldly, it was profoundly human. He saw that suffering arises from craving, attachment, and ignorance. But he also saw that liberation is possible, that by cultivating wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline, we can free ourselves from the cycle of dissatisfaction. At the heart of Buddhist philosophy are the Four Noble Truths. These truths form the foundation upon which all else rests, offering a clear diagnosis of the human condition and a roadmap for transformation. Let's explore them in depth, as they hold the key to understanding how Buddhism addresses the challenges we face in life. The first noble truth is simple yet profound. Life involves suffering. This doesn't mean life is inherently bad. It means that pain, loss, and impermanence are inevitable parts of existence. From physical discomfort to emotional heartache, suffering takes many forms. It might manifest as the ache of unmet expectations, the sting of rejection, or the grief of losing someone we love. Even moments of joy carry the shadow of impermanence, reminding us that nothing lasts forever. Acknowledging this truth is the first step toward healing. By recognizing suffering as a universal experience, we stop seeing it as a personal failure or flaw. Instead, we begin to approach it with curiosity and compassion. The second noble truth identifies the cause of suffering: craving and attachment. We cling to pleasure, possessions, relationships, and identities, hoping they'll bring us lasting happiness. But nothing lasts forever, and when things inevitably change, we suffer. This craving isn't limited to material desires. It extends to our need for control, validation, and certainty. We attach ourselves to outcomes, fearing uncertainty and resisting change. Recognizing this pattern helps us break free from its grip. When we see how our attachments fuel our suffering, we can begin to loosen their hold on us. The third noble truth offers hope. There is an end to suffering. By letting go of craving and attachment, we can experience freedom, a state known as nirvana. Nirvana isn't a heavenly realm or a distant goal. It's the cessation of greed, hatred, and delusion. It's waking up to the beauty and interconnectedness of life as it is. Nirvana doesn't mean escaping the world or detaching from it entirely. It means engaging with life fully without being consumed by fear, anger, or desire. It's a state of profound peace and clarity, where we no longer chase after fleeting pleasures or run from discomfort. Finally, the fourth noble truth outlines the path to liberation, the Eightfold Path. This path consists of 8 interrelated practices: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Together, they form a comprehensive framework for ethical living, mental cultivation, and spiritual awakening. Each aspect of the Eightfold Path supports the others, creating a holistic approach to personal and collective well-being. Let's delve deeper into each element of the Eightfold Path, as they offer practical guidance for navigating life's challenges. Right view encourages us to see reality clearly without distortion. It's about understanding the nature of suffering, impermanence, and interconnectedness. When we cultivate right view, we stop clinging to false beliefs or unrealistic expectations. Right intention involves setting wholesome intentions based on kindness, compassion, and renunciation. It's about aligning our thoughts and actions with values that promote harmony and well-being. For example, instead of harboring resentment or envy, we choose to cultivate goodwill and generosity. Right speech teaches us to communicate honestly and kindly, avoiding gossip, slander, and harmful words. Our words have immense power. They can uplift or wound, heal or harm. By speaking with care and awareness, we create a more peaceful and supportive environment for ourselves and others. Right action invites us to act ethically, refraining from harming living beings and respecting the dignity of all life. This includes abstaining from stealing, lying, and engaging in harmful behaviors. Right action fosters trust, integrity, and mutual respect. Right livelihood encourages us to choose work that aligns with our values and contributes positively to the world. Whether we're farmers, teachers, artists, or entrepreneurs, our work can reflect our commitment to compassion and sustainability. Right effort involves cultivating wholesome qualities while abandoning unwholesome ones. It's about striving diligently to overcome negative habits and nurture positive ones. Right effort requires patience and perseverance, but it leads to lasting growth and transformation. Right mindfulness teaches us to live fully in each moment rather than getting lost in regrets about the past or worries about the future. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment with curiosity and non-judgment. Imagine you're walking through a park. Instead of being lost in thought, you tune into the sights, sounds, and sensations around you. You notice the vibrant colors of the flowers, the crunch of leaves underfoot, the cool breeze brushing against your skin. This kind of attentive presence transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. Mindfulness also applies to our inner landscape. When thoughts arise, we observe them without identifying with them. I'm feeling anxious becomes there's anxiety. When emotions surface, we acknowledge them without judgment. I'm angry shifts to anger is present. This subtle shift creates distance between us and our experiences, giving us the space to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Finally, right concentration refers to developing deep states of meditation and focus. Through sustained attention, we quiet the mind and access profound levels of insight and tranquility. Right concentration strengthens our ability to stay present and centered, even in challenging situations. Buddhism reminds us that we're not separate from the world. We're deeply interconnected with all beings and phenomena. This perspective fosters empathy and compassion. When we recognize that everyone suffers, we naturally wish for their well-being. Loving kindness meditation, or metta, is one way to nurture this quality. By silently repeating phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I live with ease," we extend goodwill to ourselves and others. Over time, this practice softens our hearts and dissolves barriers between us and those around us. Let me leave you with a story. Once, a woman named Kisa Gautami approached the Buddha, distraught over the death of her child. She begged him to bring her son back to life. The Buddha told her to gather mustard seeds from every household that hadn't experienced death. Desperate, Kisa went from door to door, only to realize that no family was spared from loss. Through this exercise, she came to understand the universality of suffering. Her grief didn't disappear, but it transformed into acceptance and peace. This story illustrates a core teaching of Buddhism. Suffering connects us all. When we embrace this truth, we stop seeing ourselves as isolated individuals battling fate alone. Instead, we recognize that we're part of a vast web of life, bound together by shared joys and sorrows. As we transition to the next chapter, keep in mind that Buddhism isn't about escaping life's difficulties. It's about transforming our relationship with them. By embracing impermanence, cultivating mindfulness, and nurturing compassion, we can face whatever comes our way with greater resilience and grace. Chapter 2. Why meditation matters. Training the mind. Meditation is often misunderstood as something mystical or difficult, reserved for monks in remote monasteries or practitioners sitting cross-legged for hours on end. But, in reality, meditation is one of the most practical tools we have for navigating the complexities of modern life. It's not about achieving some lofty state of enlightenment, it's about training the mind to be more present, focused, and resilient. Just as you would train your body through exercise, meditation trains your mind to function at its best, helping you respond to challenges with clarity and calmness. At its core, meditation is about creating space. Space between stimulus and response, space to breathe deeply, and space to observe your thoughts without being swept away by them. In today's fast-paced world, where distractions are constant and stress levels are high, this space is invaluable. Meditation allows us to step back from the chaos and reconnect with ourselves, even if only for a few moments. Over time, these small moments accumulate, leading to profound changes in how we think, feel, and interact with the world around us. Let's explore why meditation matters so much, both in theory and in practice. First, it's important to understand that our minds are like untamed horses. They wander aimlessly, chasing after pleasure, fleeing from discomfort, and getting caught up in endless loops of thought. Without intentional effort, we spend much of our lives lost in rumination, worry, or daydreams, missing out on the richness of the present moment. Meditation helps tame this wild horse, teaching us to harness the power of attention and direct it deliberately. One of the most common misconceptions about meditation is that it's about stopping thoughts altogether. This couldn't be further from the truth. Thoughts will always arise. That's simply the nature of the mind. What meditation does is help us relate to those thoughts differently. Instead of identifying with them or reacting impulsively, we learn to observe them with curiosity and detachment. Imagine your mind as a clear blue sky and your thoughts as clouds drifting across it. Some clouds are light and fluffy, while others are dark and stormy. Regardless of their shape or size, they all pass eventually. Meditation teaches us to sit beneath the sky, watching the clouds come and go without clinging to them or pushing them away. This ability to observe thoughts without judgment has far-reaching benefits. For one, it reduces stress. When we're constantly caught up in anxious thinking or replaying negative scenarios in our heads, our bodies respond as if those scenarios are real. Our heart rate increases, our muscles tense, and our immune system weakens. Meditation interrupts this cycle by bringing us back to the present moment, where we can assess situations more objectively and respond with greater wisdom. Studies have shown that regular meditation lowers cortisol levels, improves sleep quality, and enhances overall well-being. But the benefits of meditation extend beyond stress reduction. It also sharpens our focus and boosts cognitive performance. In a world filled with distractions from social media notifications to email alerts, our attention spans are under siege. Meditation strengthens the brain's ability to concentrate, allowing us to stay engaged with tasks longer and perform them more effectively. Research using brain imaging technology has revealed that meditation increases grey matter in areas associated with memory, learning, and emotional regulation, while reducing activity in the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fear and stress responses. Another powerful aspect of meditation is its ability to foster self-awareness. Through consistent practice, we become more attuned to our emotions, habits, and patterns of behavior. We start to notice when we're reacting out of fear, anger, or insecurity, rather than responding with compassion and clarity. This heightened awareness gives us the opportunity to make conscious choices instead of operating on autopilot. For example, imagine you're having a disagreement with someone. Without mindfulness, you might lash out defensively or shut down entirely. But with meditation practice, you can pause, take a deep breath, and choose a more constructive way to communicate. Now let's talk about how to meditate. There are countless techniques, but one of the simplest and most effective is mindful breathing. This practice involves focusing your attention on the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. You don't need any special equipment or posture. All you need is a willingness to try. Begin by finding a comfortable position, whether sitting upright in a chair, lying down, or even standing. Close your eyes if it feels natural, or keep them softly open with a downward gaze. Take a few deep breaths to settle into the moment, then let your breathing return to its natural rhythm. As you focus on your breath, you'll likely notice your mind wandering. That's perfectly normal. The key is not to judge yourself or get frustrated. Simply acknowledge that your attention has drifted and gently bring it back to your breath. Each time you do this, you're strengthening your mental muscles just as lifting weights builds physical strength. Over time, this process becomes easier, and you'll find yourself able to sustain focus for longer periods. Mindful breathing is especially helpful during moments of stress or overwhelm. Say you're stuck in traffic or facing a tight deadline. Instead of getting caught up in frustration, take a few moments to center yourself. Feel the air moving in and out of your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, or the gentle expansion of your belly. These simple actions can anchor you in the present moment, preventing stress from spiraling out of control. Another form of meditation worth exploring is body scan meditation. This technique involves systematically directing your attention to different parts of your body, starting from the toes and working your way up to the crown of your head. As you focus on each area, notice any sensations, tingling, warmth, tension, or relaxation, without trying to change anything. Body scan meditation is particularly useful for releasing physical tension and cultivating a sense of connection with your body. It's also a great way to prepare for sleep, as it calms the nervous system and quiets the mind. Loving-kindness meditation, or metta, is another powerful practice. While mindful breathing and body scans focus primarily on awareness, loving-kindness meditation emphasizes cultivating compassion for yourself and others. To practice metta, begin by silently repeating phrases such as may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I live with ease. Once you've extended these wishes to yourself, gradually expand your circle of goodwill to include loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and even people you find challenging. Visualize each person receiving your kind intentions, knowing that they too wish for happiness and freedom from suffering. Loving-kindness meditation not only softens the heart, but also fosters a sense of interconnectedness, reminding us that we're all part of the same human family. For those who struggle with restlessness or racing thoughts, movement-based meditations like walking meditation can be incredibly grounding. Walking meditation involves paying close attention to the experience of walking, the sensation of your feet touching the ground, the rhythm of your steps, the movement of your arms. Unlike traditional seated meditation, which requires stillness, walking meditation allows you to engage with your surroundings while maintaining mindfulness. Whether you're strolling through a park, pacing in your living room, or commuting to work, you can turn any walk into an opportunity for meditation. It's important to note that meditation isn't a quick fix. Like any skill, it takes time and patience to develop. At first, you may feel restless or discouraged, wondering if you're doing it right. But remember, there's no right or wrong way to meditate. The act of showing up again and again is what matters most. Consistency is key. Even 5 minutes a day can make a difference over time. As you deepen your practice, you'll likely notice subtle shifts in your mindset and behavior. You might find yourself reacting less impulsively, listening more attentively, or feeling more grounded in challenging situations. These changes may seem small at first, but they compound, leading to lasting transformation. To illustrate the transformative power of meditation, let me share a story. A young woman named Maya struggled with chronic anxiety. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was always about to happen. She turned to meditation reluctantly, skeptical that something so simple could help. At first, her sessions were frustrating. Her mind raced, and she doubted whether she was capable of meditating at all, but she persisted, committing to just 10 minutes a day. Slowly but surely, she began to notice a shift. The gaps between anxious thoughts grew longer. She learned to greet her fears with kindness rather than resistance. Over time, her anxiety didn't disappear completely, but it became manageable, a fleeting visitor rather than a constant companion. Maya's story highlights an important point. Meditation doesn't eliminate life's difficulties. What it does is give us tools to navigate them with greater grace and resilience. It reminds us that we have agency, that we can choose how we respond to whatever arises. Whether you're dealing with personal struggles, societal pressures, or existential questions, meditation offers a refuge, a place to regroup and recharge. As we move forward, I encourage you to approach meditation with openness and curiosity. Don't worry about mastering it right away. Instead, view it as an experiment, an invitation to explore the inner landscape of your mind. Try different techniques, see what resonates with you, and adjust accordingly. Remember, meditation isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every moment of awareness, no matter how brief, contributes to your growth. In the next chapter, we'll delve deeper into mindfulness, not just as a formal practice, but as a way of being. We'll explore how to bring mindfulness into everyday activities, transforming mundane tasks into opportunities for presence and connection. Until then, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned here. How might meditation support you in facing life's challenges? What small step can you take today to begin or deepen your practice? Chapter 3: Cultivating Mindfulness. Living in the present moment. Mindfulness is often described as the heart of meditation, but it's much more than that. It's a way of being, a lens through which we can view and interact with the world around us. While meditation provides a dedicated space to practice mindfulness, true mindfulness extends far beyond the cushion or chair. It's about bringing full awareness to every moment of our lives, whether we're eating breakfast, commuting to work, or engaging in conversation. When practiced consistently, mindfulness transforms ordinary experiences into extraordinary ones, allowing us to live more fully and authentically. At its essence, mindfulness is the act of paying attention to the present moment with curiosity, kindness, and non-judgment. It's about noticing what's happening right here, right now, both within us and around us, without getting lost in thoughts about the past or future. This simple yet profound shift has the power to change how we relate to ourselves, others, and the challenges we face. But before we dive deeper, let's clarify what mindfulness isn't. It's not about achieving a particular state of bliss or clearing the mind of all thoughts, nor is it about striving for perfection or becoming a better person overnight. Instead, mindfulness is about embracing life as it unfolds, with all its messiness, beauty, and unpredictability. Why does mindfulness matter so much? In today's hyper-connected world where distractions are constant and multitasking is glorified, many of us spend our days operating on autopilot. We eat meals while scrolling through social media, rush from one task to the next without pausing, and rarely take time to check in with ourselves. Over time, this disconnection takes a toll, not just on our mental health, but also on our relationships, productivity, and overall sense of fulfillment. Mindfulness offers a remedy. By grounding ourselves in the present moment, we reclaim our attention, deepen our connections, and rediscover the joy in simple things. Let's explore some practical ways to cultivate mindfulness in daily life. One of the easiest entry points is mindful breathing. You've already encountered this practice in the context of meditation, but it can be equally powerful when integrated into everyday activities. For instance, imagine you're waiting in line at the grocery store. Instead of pulling out your phone or growing impatient, bring your attention to your breath. Feel the air entering and leaving your body, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. This simple act anchors you in the present moment, transforming what might otherwise feel like wasted time into an opportunity for presence. Another accessible practice is mindful eating. How often do we consume meals without truly tasting them? We shovel food into our mouths while watching TV, reading emails, or planning our next move. Mindful eating invites us to slow down and savor each bite. Start by taking a moment to appreciate the appearance, aroma, and texture of your meal. As you take your first bite, notice the flavors unfolding on your tongue. Chew slowly, paying attention to the sensations in your mouth and throat. If your mind wanders, and it will, gently guide it back to the experience of eating. Not only does this enhance your enjoyment of food, but it also helps prevent overeating by giving your brain time to register feelings of fullness. Walking is another activity ripe for mindfulness. Most of us walk automatically, barely registering the movement of our legs or the sensation of our feet touching the ground. Mindful walking changes that. Whether you're strolling through a park, pacing in your living room, or heading to a meeting, focus on the physical experience of walking. Notice the weight shifting from one foot to the other, the rhythm of your steps, the subtle sway of your arms. If you're outside, tune into the sounds of birds chirping, leaves rustling, or cars passing by. If you're indoors, pay attention to the texture of the floor beneath your shoes or bare feet. Walking mindfully turns even the shortest journey into a meditative experience. Household chores, often seen as tedious necessities, can also become opportunities for mindfulness. Washing dishes, folding laundry, or sweeping the floor may not seem glamorous, but they provide a perfect backdrop for cultivating presence. Take dishwashing, for example. Instead of rushing through the task, immerse yourself in the sensory details. Feel the warmth of the water on your hands, the smooth surface of the plates, the scent of the soap. Listen to the rhythmic clinking of utensils and the splash of water against the sink. These moments, though seemingly mundane, offer a chance to connect with the simplicity of being alive. Mindfulness isn't limited to solitary activities. It's equally valuable in interpersonal interactions. Have you ever found yourself nodding along during a conversation while secretly rehearsing your response or mentally checking off tasks? This kind of partial attention diminishes the quality of our relationships. Mindful listening, on the other hand, involves giving someone your full presence. Make eye contact, lean slightly forward, and resist the urge to interrupt or plan what you'll say next. Focus on their words, tone, and body language, noticing any emotions behind them. Even brief exchanges like chatting with a cashier or greeting a neighbor can be infused with mindfulness if we approach them with openness and care. Now let's talk about how mindfulness can help us navigate difficult emotions. When anger, sadness, or frustration arise, our instinct is often to suppress these feelings or lash out impulsively. Neither approach serves us well. Mindfulness offers a third option, acknowledging emotions without judgment and exploring them with compassion. Imagine you're feeling overwhelmed at work. Instead of pushing the emotion aside or venting uncontrollably, pause for a moment. Label the feeling that this is stress or this is frustration. Then investigate it. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, or heat rising to your face? Simply observing the physical sensations associated with the emotion creates distance, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than react blindly. Loving-kindness meditation, which we touched on earlier, complements mindfulness beautifully by fostering compassion for ourselves and others. When combined with mindful awareness, loving-kindness becomes a powerful antidote to negativity and isolation. Picture a challenging situation, such as a disagreement with a colleague or a strained relationship. As you observe your thoughts and emotions mindfully, layer in phrases of goodwill. May I approach this with patience. May we both find understanding. May peace prevail. This dual practice not only softens your heart, but also opens doors to resolution and healing. Of course, cultivating mindfulness isn't always easy. Our minds are conditioned to wander, and societal pressures often pull us away from the present moment. Distractions lurk everywhere, from smartphones to endless to-do lists. That's why consistency is crucial. Like watering a plant, regular practice nurtures mindfulness, helping it grow stronger over time. Start small. One mindful breath, one mindful step, one mindful bite. Gradually expand these moments until they weave seamlessly into the fabric of your day. To illustrate the transformative potential of mindfulness, consider the story of David, a high-powered executive who felt perpetually stressed and disconnected. His days were a blur of meetings, deadlines, and late-night emails. Despite his success, he felt empty, as though he was merely going through the motions. On the advice of a friend, David began experimenting with mindfulness. He started with short sessions of mindful breathing during his morning commute, then incorporated mindful walking into his lunch breaks. Slowly, he expanded his practice to include mindful eating, listening, and even emailing. Over time, David noticed profound changes. He became more patient with colleagues, more attuned to his own needs, and more appreciative of life's small pleasures. What began as a desperate attempt to manage stress evolved into a lifelong commitment to presence and connection. David's journey underscores an important truth. Mindfulness isn't about escaping life's challenges. It's about meeting them head-on. armed with clarity and compassion. It teaches us to embrace impermanence, the fact that everything changes, and to find beauty in the transient nature of existence. A flower blooms, wilts, and returns to the earth. A storm rages, then clears, revealing a brilliant sunset. Life itself follows this same rhythm, and mindfulness helps us flow with it rather than resist it. As we close this chapter, I invite you to reflect on how mindfulness might enrich your daily life. What activities could you infuse with greater awareness? How might mindfulness support you in navigating stress, conflict, or uncertainty? Remember, mindfulness isn't a destination. It's a continuous process of returning to the present moment, again and again. Each time you do so, you strengthen your capacity to live fully, authentically, and with an open heart. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to deal with difficult emotions using Buddhist principles and mindfulness techniques. We'll delve into the nature of suffering, the role of compassion, and practical strategies for transforming emotional pain into wisdom and growth. Until then, carry this intention with you, to meet each moment with curiosity and kindness, knowing that even the smallest acts of mindfulness ripple outward, touching every corner of your life. Chapter 4. Dealing with difficult emotions. Compassion over criticism. Life is unpredictable, and emotions are its weather patterns, sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy, and often somewhere in between. Difficult emotions like anger, sadness, fear, and frustration are an inevitable part of being human. Yet how we respond to these emotions can shape our experience of life in profound ways. Instead of avoiding or suppressing them, Buddhism and mindfulness offer us tools to meet difficult emotions with compassion rather than criticism. By doing so, we transform emotional pain into opportunities for growth, wisdom, and deeper self-understanding. Let's begin by acknowledging something fundamental. Emotions themselves are not the problem. They are natural responses to our experiences, signals from our inner world that something needs attention. The challenge arises when we react to emotions unskillfully, either by clinging to them, resisting them, or letting them dictate our actions without reflection. For example, when anger arises, we might lash out impulsively, damaging relationships and creating regret. Or when sadness overwhelms us, we might withdraw completely, isolating ourselves from support and connection. These habitual patterns don't resolve the underlying issues, they only compound our suffering. Buddhism teaches us that difficult emotions are not permanent, they are impermanent, just like everything else in life. This principle of impermanence, or anicca, reminds us that no matter how intense an emotion feels in the moment, it will eventually pass. Imagine a storm rolling across the sky. It may seem relentless while it lasts, but clouds always give way to clear skies. When we internalize this truth, we stop identifying so strongly with our emotions. We see them as visitors passing through the house of our mind rather than permanent residents. But seeing emotions as temporary isn't enough. We must also learn to relate to them skillfully. One powerful teaching from Buddhism is the concept of non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean ignoring or detaching from our feelings. It means observing them without judgment or resistance. When we label emotions as good or bad, we create additional layers of suffering. For instance, feeling sad about losing a loved one is entirely natural, but criticizing ourselves for not being strong enough adds unnecessary guilt and shame. Non-attachment invites us to witness our emotions with kindness, recognizing that they are valid expressions of our humanity. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this process. Through mindfulness, we develop the ability to observe our emotions without becoming consumed by them. Let's explore how this works in practice. Imagine you're feeling overwhelmed by anxiety. Instead of trying to push the feeling away or distract yourself, bring your attention to it mindfully. Start by labeling the emotion. This is anxiety. Then investigate it. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it tightness in your chest? a knot in your stomach, or tension in your shoulders. Notice any thoughts or images accompanying the emotion. Are they replaying worst-case scenarios or fueling your fears? Simply observing these sensations and thoughts creates distance, allowing you to respond with clarity rather than reactivity. Another key aspect of dealing with difficult emotions is cultivating self-compassion. Self-compassion involves treating ourselves with the same warmth and understanding we would offer a close friend who is struggling. Too often we harshly criticize ourselves for feeling angry, scared, or inadequate, believing that such emotions make us weak or flawed. But the reality is that everyone experiences difficult emotions. They are part of the shared human experience. When we embrace this truth, we stop judging ourselves so harshly and start offering ourselves the care and support we need. Loving-kindness meditation, or metta, is a particularly effective practice for nurturing self-compassion and transforming difficult emotions. To practice metta, begin by silently repeating phrases of goodwill toward yourself, such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be safe, may I live with ease." If this feels challenging, especially during times of emotional pain, remember that you don't have to believe these words immediately. You simply repeat them as intentions. Over time, they soften your heart and remind you of your inherent worthiness of love and compassion. Once you've extended loving kindness to yourself, gradually expand your circle of goodwill to include others, friends, family members, acquaintances, strangers, and even those you find challenging. Visualize each person receiving your kind wishes, knowing that they too wish for happiness and freedom from suffering. Now let's delve into specific strategies for working with common difficult emotions. Take anger, for example. Anger is often misunderstood as inherently destructive, but it can also serve as a catalyst for positive change if handled wisely. The key is to pause before reacting. When anger arises, take a few deep breaths to ground yourself in the present moment. Ask yourself, what triggered this emotion? What unmet need or boundary violation lies beneath it? By investigating the root cause of your anger, you gain insight into what truly matters to you and how to address the situation constructively. Sadness, on the other hand, requires a different approach. Sadness often arises from loss, whether it's the loss of a relationship, a dream, or sense of stability. Instead of pushing sadness away, allow yourself to fully feel it. Cry if you need to, write in a journal, or talk to someone you trust. Expressing sadness in healthy ways helps release pent-up energy and clears space for healing. Mindful grieving is especially important here. It involves honoring your pain without getting stuck in it. Remind yourself that sadness, like all emotions, is temporary. Even in the depths of sorrow, moments of light and hope will inevitably emerge. Fear and anxiety are perhaps the most pervasive of all difficult emotions, especially in today's uncertain world. Fear thrives on uncertainty, projecting worst-case scenarios and keeping us trapped in cycles of worry. To counteract fear, mindfulness encourages us to anchor ourselves in the present moment. Anxiety often stems from concerns about the future, which is why focusing on what's happening right now can be incredibly grounding. Use your breath as a lifeline. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly, and notice the sensations of breathing. You can also engage your senses to bring yourself back to the here and now. Notice 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This simple exercise shifts your focus away from anxious thoughts and reconnects you with the tangible reality of the present moment. Shame is another challenging emotion that many people struggle with. Unlike guilt, which focuses on specific actions, I did something wrong, shame attacks our sense of self-worth. I am fundamentally flawed. Shame tends to thrive in secrecy, so sharing your feelings with a trusted confidant can help break its hold. Practicing self-compassion is also essential. Remind yourself that making mistakes is part of being human and that your worth is not diminished by past errors. Loving-kindness meditation can be particularly helpful for countering shame, as it reinforces the belief that you deserve love and acceptance exactly as you are. It's important to note that dealing with difficult emotions doesn't mean eliminating them altogether. In fact, attempting to suppress or avoid emotions only amplifies their intensity. Instead, mindfulness teaches us to lean into discomfort with curiosity and courage. Think of emotions as waves in the ocean. They rise, crest, and fall naturally. By riding the wave instead of fighting it, we navigate emotional storms with greater resilience and grace. To illustrate this point, let me share the story of Sarah, a young woman who struggled with chronic self-doubt. Whenever she faced setbacks at work or disagreements with friends, she spiraled into negative self-talk, berating herself for her perceived failures. Her inner critic was relentless, leaving her feeling defeated and unworthy. On the recommendation of a therapist, Sarah began practicing mindfulness and self-compassion exercises. At first, it felt awkward and uncomfortable. She wasn't used to speaking kindly to herself. But over time, she noticed subtle shifts. She learned to recognize her critical thoughts without believing them, replacing them with gentler, more supportive language. She also started journaling regularly, expressing her fears and frustrations without judgment. Through consistent practice, Sarah cultivated a deeper sense of self-acceptance and confidence. While self-doubt still arose occasionally, it no longer controlled her life. Sarah's journey highlights an important lesson. Transformation takes time and patience. There's no quick fix for dealing with difficult emotions. What matters most is showing up consistently, practicing mindfulness and compassion, and trusting the process. Each small step forward contributes to lasting change. As we conclude this chapter, I want to leave you with a final thought. Difficult emotions are not enemies to be conquered. They are teachers guiding us toward greater wholeness and understanding. By embracing them with mindfulness and compassion, we unlock their hidden gifts. Anger reveals our values and boundaries. Sadness connects us to our capacity for love and loss. Fear sharpens our awareness of vulnerability and resilience, and shame reminds us of our longing for belonging and acceptance. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to find balance in life through the Buddhist principle of the middle way. We'll discuss how to avoid extremes, cultivate harmony, and create a sustainable path toward well-being. Until then, carry this intention with you: to meet your emotions with openness and kindness, knowing that each one holds the potential for growth and transformation. Chapter 5: Finding Balance Through the Middle Way, Avoiding Extremes and Cultivating Harmony. One of the most profound teachings of Buddhism is the concept of the middle way. It's a principle that invites us to navigate life with balance, avoiding extremes that lead to suffering. The middle way isn't just a philosophical idea, it's a practical guide for living harmoniously in body, mind, and spirit. By embracing this approach, we can create a sustainable path toward well-being, one that honors our needs without tipping into excess or deprivation. To understand the middle way, let's return to the story of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. Before he attained enlightenment, Siddhartha lived two very different lifestyles. First, as a prince, he indulged in luxury and pleasure, shielded from the hardships of life. Then, as an ascetic, seeking spiritual liberation, he subjected himself to extreme austerity, denying his body even basic sustenance. Neither path brought him lasting peace. It was only when he abandoned both extremes and chose the middle way, a balanced approach to living, that he discovered true freedom. This lesson remains timeless, offering guidance not just for spiritual seekers, but for anyone striving to live a meaningful and fulfilling life. At its core, the middle way teaches us to avoid swinging between polar opposites. For example, many people oscillate between overworking and complete burnout. They push themselves relentlessly, sacrificing rest and self-care in pursuit of success, only to collapse under the weight of exhaustion. Others may swing in the opposite direction, retreating entirely from responsibility and ambition, leading to stagnation and regret. The middle way suggests a third option: finding equilibrium by honoring both effort and rest, productivity and presence. This principle applies to every area of life: our physical health, emotional well-being, relationships, and even our spiritual practices. Let's explore how the middle way can help us cultivate balance in each of these domains. Physical health, nourishing the body without obsession. In today's world where fitness trends and diet culture dominate, it's easy to fall into extremes when it comes to caring for our bodies. On one end of the spectrum, some people obsess over calorie counting, rigid workout routines, or achieving an idealized body image. This approach often leads to stress, guilt, and disconnection from the joy of movement and nourishment. On the other end, others neglect their physical health altogether, prioritizing convenience over nutrition or dismissing exercise as unimportant. The middle way encourages us to care for our bodies with mindfulness and moderation. Instead of fixating on perfection, focus on progress. Eat foods that energize and sustain you, but don't deprive yourself of treats that bring joy. Move your body in ways that feel good, whether it's yoga, dancing, hiking, or simply taking a mindful walk, without punishing yourself for missing a day at the gym. Listen to your body's signals. Hunger, fatigue, and cravings are messages worth paying attention to. When we treat our bodies with kindness rather than criticism, we foster a sense of harmony and vitality. Emotional well-being, honoring feelings without overwhelm. Emotions too require balance. Some people suppress their feelings, believing that vulnerability is a sign of weakness. They bottle up anger, sadness, or fear, hoping these emotions will disappear on their own. But suppression doesn't resolve anything, it merely delays the inevitable, often resulting in explosive reactions later. Others swing to the opposite extreme, allowing their emotions to dictate their actions impulsively. They lash out in anger, wallow endlessly in sadness, or spiral into anxiety without pause. The middle way invites us to acknowledge our emotions fully while maintaining perspective. When difficult feelings arise, allow yourself to experience them without judgment. Sit quietly with sadness, breathe through frustration, or journal about fear. At the same time, remind yourself that emotions are temporary. They will pass, just like clouds drifting across the sky. By holding space for your feelings without clinging to them or resisting them, you create a stable foundation for emotional resilience. Mindfulness plays a vital role in this process. Instead of reacting automatically to emotions, take a moment to observe them. Ask yourself, what triggered this feeling? What need is it pointing to? How can I respond skillfully rather than react impulsively? These questions help you stay grounded, transforming raw emotion into thoughtful action. Relationships, balancing connection and independence. Healthy relationships thrive on balance, yet many of us struggle to find it. Some people become overly dependent on their partners, friends, or family members, losing sight of their own identity and needs. They might seek constant validation or cling to toxic dynamics out of fear of being alone. Others swing to the opposite extreme, prioritizing independence above all else. They isolate themselves emotionally, fearing vulnerability or viewing connection as a threat to their autonomy. The middle way reminds us that relationships flourish when both connection and independence are honored. Spend quality time with loved ones, sharing laughter, stories, and support. But also carve out moments for solitude, nurturing your individual passions and interests. Set boundaries that protect your well-being while remaining open to compromise and collaboration. True intimacy arises not from merging completely with another person, but from meeting them halfway, with authenticity, respect, and mutual understanding. Work-life balance, integrating effort and rest. Achieving balance between work and personal life is one of the greatest challenges of modern times. Many people identify so strongly with their careers that they sacrifice sleep, leisure, and relationships in pursuit of professional success. Burnout becomes inevitable, leaving them physically and emotionally depleted. Others reject ambition entirely, shying away from challenges or responsibilities in favor of perpetual relaxation. The middle way offers a middle ground, integrating effort and rest in a way that sustains long-term fulfillment. Approach your work with dedication and purpose, knowing that contributing meaningfully to the world is valuable, but also prioritize rest and play. recognizing that downtime fuels creativity and resilience. Schedule regular breaks throughout your day, set aside weekends for rejuvenation, and take vacations to recharge fully. Remember, productivity isn't measured by busyness, it's measured by impact and alignment with your values, spiritual practices, commitment without rigidity. For those drawn to spiritual growth, the middle way serves as a reminder to practice with sincerity but without rigidity. Some people dive headfirst into meditation, chanting, or rituals, expecting immediate results. When expectations aren't met, they grow discouraged and abandon their efforts. Others dismiss spirituality altogether, viewing it as irrelevant or inaccessible. The middle way encourages a gradual, patient approach to spiritual development. Show up consistently, even if only for a few minutes a day. Celebrate small victories, a moment of clarity during meditation, a surge of compassion during daily interactions. At the same time, release attachment to outcomes. Spiritual growth is a lifelong journey, not a destination. Trust that the seeds you plant today will blossom in time as long as you nurture them with care and patience. Practical strategies for living the middle way. Now that we've explored how the middle way applies to various aspects of life, let's delve into practical strategies for embodying this principle in your daily routine. Set realistic goals. Whether it's related to health, career, or personal growth, aim for goals that challenge you without overwhelming you. Break larger objectives into smaller, manageable steps and celebrate progress along the way. Practice moderation. In everything you do, strive for balance. If you're prone to overindulgence, whether it's food, social media, or entertainment, set limits that honor your well-being. Conversely, if you tend to restrict or deny yourself, experiment with loosening those constraints mindfully. Cultivate self-awareness. Regularly check in with yourself to assess whether you're leaning toward an extreme. Journaling, meditation, or simply pausing to reflect can help you notice patterns before they escalate. Prioritize flexibility. Life is unpredictable, and rigid adherence to plans or ideals often leads to frustration. Stay open to adjusting your course as circumstances change, trusting that adaptability fosters resilience. Seek support. Finding balance isn't always easy, especially when old habits or societal pressures pull you toward extremes. Surround yourself with people who encourage your growth and hold you accountable with kindness. To illustrate the transformative power of the middle way, consider the story of James, a driven entrepreneur who struggled to maintain balance in his life. For years, James poured every ounce of energy into building his business, working late nights and skipping meals to meet deadlines. While his company thrived, his health deteriorated and his relationships suffered. Exhausted and disillusioned, he decided to step back entirely, abandoning his ambitions in search of simplicity. Yet this retreat left him feeling aimless and unfulfilled. It wasn't until James discovered the middle way that he found a sustainable rhythm. He began setting clear boundaries around his work hours, dedicating evenings and weekends to family, hobbies, and self-care. He reconnected with activities that brought him joy, such as painting and hiking, which had fallen by the wayside. At the same time, he continued pursuing his entrepreneurial dreams, now with renewed purpose and perspective. By balancing effort and rest, ambition and contentment, James created a life that felt whole and harmonious. James's journey underscores an important truth. The middle way isn't about achieving perfection, it's about embracing imperfection with wisdom and grace. Life is messy, and balance is rarely static. There will be days when you lean more heavily in one direction than another, and that's okay. What matters is your willingness to course correct again and again, guided by the principles of mindfulness and compassion. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on areas of your life where extremes might be causing imbalance. How can you apply the middle way to restore harmony? What small adjustments could make a big difference in your well-being? Remember, the path to balance isn't linear, It's a dynamic dance of give and take, ebb and flow. In the next chapter, we'll explore the transformative power of gratitude and how shifting your perspective can dramatically enhance your quality of life. Until then, carry this intention with you, to walk the middle way with awareness and grace, trusting that balance is not something you achieve once, but something you continually cultivate. Chapter 6. Practicing Gratitude, Shifting Your Perspective. Gratitude is more than a polite gesture or a fleeting emotion. It's a profound practice that has the power to transform how we experience life. In a world often dominated by stress, comparison, and dissatisfaction, cultivating gratitude shifts our focus from what's lacking to what's abundant. It reminds us that even in the midst of challenges, there are blessings worthy of acknowledgement. By embracing gratitude as a daily habit, we can rewire our minds, strengthen our resilience, and create a deeper sense of connection with ourselves and the world around us. At its core, gratitude is about perspective. When we're caught up in the whirlwind of daily life, juggling responsibilities, chasing goals, and navigating setbacks, it's easy to lose sight of the good things that sustain us. We become so fixated on what's missing or imperfect that we forget to appreciate what's already present. This mindset doesn't just diminish our happiness, it narrows our vision, making life feel heavier and more burdensome than it needs to be. Gratitude opens the door to a wider, brighter perspective, one where we recognize beauty, kindness, and opportunity in every corner of our lives. Buddhism offers a particularly rich framework for understanding gratitude. Central to Buddhist teachings is the concept of interdependence, the idea that nothing exists in isolation. Everything we have, from the air we breathe to the food we eat, arises through countless causes and conditions. The clothes you wear were made possible by farmers, designers, and factory workers. The water you drink traveled through rivers, reservoirs, and pipes before reaching your glass. Even your very existence depends on the love and care of parents, teachers, friends, and strangers who shaped your journey. Recognizing this interconnected web fosters a deep sense of gratitude, not just for tangible possessions, but for the unseen efforts and relationships that sustain us. But gratitude isn't limited to grand gestures or extraordinary moments. Often the most transformative expressions of gratitude come from noticing the small, everyday blessings that might otherwise go overlooked. A warm cup of tea on a chilly morning, the laughter of a child playing nearby, the gentle rustle of leaves in the wind. These seemingly ordinary experiences carry extraordinary potential if we choose to see them clearly. Let's explore how to cultivate gratitude in meaningful ways. One of the simplest yet most powerful practices is keeping a gratitude journal. Each day, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental achievements. They can be as simple as a kind word from a colleague, a delicious meal, or a moment of peace during a hectic day. Over time, this practice trains your brain to scan for positives rather than negatives, rewiring your neural pathways toward optimism and contentment. Studies have shown that regular gratitude journaling improves mood, reduces stress, and enhances overall well-being. Another effective way to deepen gratitude is through mindful reflection. Instead of rushing through your day on autopilot, pause periodically to notice what's unfolding around you. For example, imagine you're sitting outside on a sunny afternoon. Tune into the warmth of the sun on your skin, the colors of the flowers blooming nearby, and the distant hum of birdsong. As you soak in these sensations, silently express gratitude for them. You might say to yourself, "Thank you for this moment of stillness. Thank you for the gift of nature." This act of mindful appreciation amplifies the richness of your experience, turning an ordinary moment into something sacred. Gratitude also extends beyond personal reflection. It's a bridge to connection. Expressing gratitude to others strengthens relationships and fosters a sense of community. Think about someone who has positively impacted your life, a friend, mentor, family member, or even a stranger whose kindness touched you. Take a moment to thank them, whether through a heartfelt conversation, a handwritten note, or a simple text message. Not only does this bring joy to the recipient, but it also reinforces your own sense of appreciation and belonging. Of course, practicing gratitude doesn't mean ignoring life's difficulties or pretending everything is perfect. On the contrary, gratitude becomes especially powerful when paired with mindfulness and compassion. When faced with adversity, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How has it helped me grow stronger or more empathetic? Is there anything, even something small, that I can still be grateful for in this situation? For instance, if you've lost your job, you might feel overwhelmed by uncertainty. But perhaps you're also grateful for the chance to reflect on your values, spend more time with loved ones, or explore new opportunities. By reframing challenges in this way, you reclaim agency over your narrative, finding meaning and purpose even in tough times. To illustrate the transformative power of gratitude, let me share the story of Maria, a woman who struggled with chronic dissatisfaction. Despite having a loving family, a stable career, and good health, Maria constantly felt like something was missing. She compared herself to others on social media, envying their vacations, promotions, and picture-perfect lives. Her discontent spilled over into her relationships, leaving her irritable and disconnected. One day, a close friend suggested she try gratitude journaling. Skeptical but desperate for change, Maria committed to writing down 3 things she was grateful for each night before bed. At first, it felt forced. She had to dig deep to find anything worth celebrating. But as weeks turned into months, something remarkable happened. Maria began to notice beauty and goodness everywhere. The way sunlight streamed through her kitchen window, the sound of her daughter's giggles, the supportive email from a co-worker. Slowly, her attitude shifted. She started appreciating the little joys in life instead of obsessing over perceived shortcomings. Her relationships improved, her mood lifted, and she rediscovered a sense of wonder she hadn't felt since childhood. Maria's story highlights an important truth. Gratitude isn't a passive state, it's an active practice. Like any skill, it takes effort and repetition to develop. The more consistently you engage with gratitude, the more natural it becomes, and the benefits ripple outward, touching every aspect of your life. Now let's delve deeper into specific strategies for integrating gratitude into your daily routine. Start your day with gratitude. Begin each morning by reflecting on one thing you're grateful for. It could be something as simple as waking up rested or anticipating a pleasant activity later in the day. Setting a positive tone first thing in the morning primes your mind for optimism and resilience. Create gratitude rituals. Incorporate gratitude into existing habits. For example, use mealtimes as an opportunity to give thanks for the food on your plate, the hands that prepared it, and the nourishment it provides. Or end your evenings by sharing one thing you're grateful for with a partner or roommate. These rituals anchor gratitude in your daily rhythm, making it easier to sustain. Shift to your language. Pay attention to how you speak about your experiences. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, highlight what went right. For instance, instead of saying, "I had such a stressful day," try framing it differently. "Even though today was challenging, I'm grateful for the support I received from my team." Small adjustments in language can significantly influence your mindset. Practice gratitude in difficult times. While it's easier to feel grateful when life is going smoothly, true growth happens when we practice gratitude during hardships. If you're facing a tough situation, ask yourself, what am I learning from this? Who has supported me along the way? What strengths have I discovered within myself? This exercise helps you find silver linings without dismissing the reality of your struggles. Expand your circle of gratitude. Extend your gratitude beyond people and things to include intangible elements of life. Be thankful for your breath, which sustains you moment by moment. Give thanks for the earth, which provides shelter, sustenance, and beauty. Acknowledge the wisdom traditions, philosophies, and teachings that inspire you. Broadening your scope of gratitude deepens your connection to the larger web of existence. Finally, let's address a common misconception about gratitude, that it's selfish or indulgent to focus on what you're thankful for when others are suffering. In reality, gratitude amplifies our capacity for empathy and generosity. When we feel grounded in abundance, we're better equipped to extend compassion and support to those in need. Gratitude doesn't blind us to injustice or hardship. It motivates us to contribute to solutions with a spirit of hope and goodwill. To illustrate this point, consider the story of Ahmed, a volunteer at a local food bank. Initially, Ahmed approached his work out of obligation, feeling burdened by the overwhelming scale of poverty and hunger in his community. Over time, however, he began practicing gratitude alongside his service. He expressed gratitude for the privilege of helping others, for the resources available to distribute, and for the resilience of the individuals he served. This shift transformed his perspective. Instead of feeling drained by the enormity of the problem, he found fulfillment in the small victories, the smile of the child receiving a meal, the camaraderie among volunteers, the shared humanity that transcended differences. Gratitude didn't erase the challenges, but it infused his efforts with purpose and joy. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on how gratitude can enrich your life. What are you already grateful for? How might shifting your perspective help you navigate current challenges with greater ease? Remember, gratitude is not a destination. It's a practice, a choice to see the world through eyes of wonder and appreciation. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to build resilience by embracing impermanence and facing adversity with courage. Until then, carry this intention with you, to nurture gratitude as a guiding light, illuminating the path to greater peace, connection, and fulfillment. Chapter 7. Building Resilience. Facing adversity with courage. Life is unpredictable and adversity is inevitable. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, a career setback, health challenges, or personal disappointments, we all face moments that test our resolve and push us to our limits. But within these trials lies an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Resilience isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about learning how to navigate it with courage, clarity, and compassion. Through the lens of Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, we can uncover tools and insights that help us face life's storms with grace and grit. At its essence, resilience is the ability to adapt and recover in the face of difficulty. It's not something you're born with. It's a skill you cultivate over time through practice, perspective, and perseverance. Buddhist teachings offer a particularly powerful framework for building resilience by reminding us of two fundamental truths: impermanence, anicca, and non-self, anatta. Together, these concepts provide a foundation for understanding and embracing adversity rather than resisting it. Let's begin with impermanence. Impermanence is the idea that everything changes, nothing lasts forever. While this principle might initially seem unsettling, it's actually profoundly liberating. When we fully grasp the transient nature of life, we stop clinging so tightly to outcomes, identities, or possessions. We realize that pain, like joy, is temporary. This awareness helps us weather difficult times with greater equanimity, knowing that even the darkest clouds eventually give way to sunlight. For example, imagine you've just gone through a painful breakup. In the immediate aftermath, it may feel as though your heart will never heal, that the sadness will last indefinitely. But if you remind yourself of impermanence, you create space for hope. You acknowledge that while this moment feels unbearable, it too shall pass. Over time, the sharp edges of grief soften, making room for new beginnings. By leaning into impermanence instead of fighting it, you build emotional flexibility, the cornerstone of resilience. Non-self, or anatta, complements impermanence by challenging the illusion of a fixed, independent self. According to Buddhist philosophy, what we think of as our self is actually a collection of ever-changing thoughts, feelings, sensations, and experiences. There is no solid, unchanging core at the center of our being. This insight can be incredibly empowering when facing adversity. Instead of identifying strongly with emotions like fear, anger, or despair, we see them for what they are, passing states that don't define who we are. For instance, when you say, "I am anxious," you reinforce the belief that anxiety is part of your identity. But when you reframe it as "anxiety is present," you create distance, allowing you to respond with wisdom rather than reactivity. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in integrating these teachings into daily life. When adversity strikes, our instinct is often to resist, deny, or escape the discomfort. Mindfulness invites us to do the opposite, to turn toward our experience with curiosity and kindness. Suppose you're dealing with chronic pain. Instead of tensing against the sensation or wishing it away, bring your attention to it mindfully. Notice its texture, intensity, and location in your body. Breathe into it, offering yourself compassion rather than criticism. Paradoxically, this act of acceptance diminishes suffering because it breaks the cycle of resistance that amplifies pain. Now let's explore practical strategies for building resilience using mindfulness and Buddhist principles. Cultivate equanimity. Equanimity is the quality of remaining calm and balanced in the face of both pleasant and unpleasant experiences. To develop equanimity, practice observing your thoughts and emotions without attaching to them. Imagine yourself as a mountain, steadfast and unmoved by the winds of change swirling around you. When challenges arise, remind yourself this too shall pass. Equanimity doesn't mean indifference. It means maintaining inner stability regardless of external circumstances. Embrace difficulty as a teacher. Every challenge carries lessons, whether it's patience, humility, or perseverance. Instead of viewing adversity as punishment or failure, ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How is it helping me grow? For example, losing a job might teach you resilience, adaptability, or the importance of self-care. A failed relationship might reveal patterns in your behavior that need addressing. By reframing difficulties as opportunities for growth, you transform obstacles into stepping stones. Practice. Self-compassion. Resilience isn't built through harshness or self-criticism. It's nurtured through kindness and care. When faced with setbacks, many people default to negative self-talk, berating themselves for perceived mistakes or weaknesses. Instead, treat yourself as you would a dear friend going through a tough time. Offer words of encouragement, understanding, and support. Loving kindness meditation or metta is especially helpful here. Silently repeat phrases like, "May I be strong, may I be patient, may I find peace," reinforcing your capacity to endure and thrive. Focus on what you can control. One of the most disempowering aspects of adversity is the feeling of helplessness. When life feels chaotic, it's easy to get overwhelmed by factors beyond your control. Resilience comes from shifting your focus to what you can influence, your attitude, effort, and response. For instance, if you're stuck in traffic during a stressful morning commute, instead of fuming over delays, use the time to listen to calming music, practice deep breathing, or reflect on gratitude. By directing energy toward actionable steps, you reclaim agency and reduce stress. Lean on community. No one builds resilience alone. During tough times, reaching out for support isn't a sign of weakness. It's a source of strength. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you, whether it's friends, family, mentors, or support groups. Share your struggles openly, knowing that vulnerability fosters connection. Conversely, offering support to others strengthens your own resilience by reminding you of your capacity to make a difference. Reframe failure as feedback. Failure is often seen as something to avoid at all costs, but it's actually an essential part of growth. Every misstep provides valuable information about what works and what doesn't. Instead of labeling failure as final or fatal, View it as feedback, a chance to adjust course and try again. Thomas Edison famously said of his countless attempts to invent the light bulb, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Adopting this mindset builds confidence and determination, key components of resilience. Develop a growth mindset. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research highlights the power of adopting a growth mindset. The belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. People with a growth mindset embrace challenges, persist despite setbacks, and see effort as a path to mastery. They understand that talent alone isn't enough. Success requires dedication and resilience. By cultivating a growth mindset, you position yourself to overcome adversity with optimism and tenacity. Find meaning in suffering. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, argued that finding meaning in suffering is central to human resilience. Even in the darkest moments, we can discover purpose, whether it's protecting loved ones, contributing to a cause greater than ourselves, or simply surviving with dignity. Reflect on how your current struggle fits into the larger narrative of your life. What values does it affirm? What strengths does it reveal? Finding meaning transforms pain into purpose, fueling your ability to persevere. To illustrate the transformative power of resilience, let me share the story of Emma, a woman who faced unimaginable hardship yet emerged stronger than ever. After losing her home and business in a devastating fire, Emma fell into a deep depression. Everything she had worked for was gone overnight, leaving her feeling hopeless and defeated. At first, she resisted seeking help, believing she should handle things on her own. But eventually she reached out to friends and joined a local support group for survivors of similar tragedies. Through their encouragement, she began practicing mindfulness and gratitude, focusing on small victories each day. She volunteered at a community shelter, finding solace in helping others rebuild their lives. Slowly but surely, Emma regained her footing, not just materially but emotionally and spiritually. Looking back, she realized the fire had taught her invaluable lessons about resilience, interdependence, and the power of the human spirit. Emma's journey underscores a vital truth. Resilience isn't about bouncing back to who you were before. It's about evolving into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Adversity forces us to dig deep, uncovering reserves of strength we didn't know we had. It reminds us that we are capable of far more than we imagine. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on your own resilience. Think about past challenges you've overcome and the qualities that helped you persevere. How can those same qualities support you now? What practices, mindfulness, gratitude, self-compassion can you lean on to face current difficulties with courage and clarity? Remember, resilience isn't about never falling. It's about rising each time you do. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to strengthen relationships through mindful communication and authentic connection. Until then, carry this intention with you to meet adversity with openness and courage, trusting that every challenge holds the seeds of growth and transformation. Chapter 8. Strengthening Relationships. Mindful communication and authentic connection. Relationships are the threads that weave the fabric of our lives. From family and friends to colleagues and strangers, every interaction shapes who we are and how we experience the world. Yet despite their importance, relationships can also be one of the greatest sources of stress and misunderstanding. Miscommunication, unmet expectations, and emotional reactivity often create barriers between us and those we care about. Buddhism, mindfulness, and mindful communication offer powerful tools for transforming these challenges into opportunities for deeper connection and mutual understanding. By cultivating presence, empathy, and authenticity, we can strengthen our relationships and foster a sense of belonging that enriches every aspect of life. At the heart of meaningful relationships lies mindful communication. Unlike ordinary conversation, which often involves speaking without truly listening or reacting impulsively, mindful communication invites us to engage fully, with awareness, compassion, and intention. It's about being present not just with our words, but with our energy, body language, and attention. When we communicate mindfully, we honor the humanity of both ourselves and the person we're interacting with, creating a space where trust and understanding can flourish. Let's explore how mindful communication works in practice. One of the foundational principles is active listening. Active listening means giving someone your full attention without interrupting, planning your response, or mentally checking off tasks. It's about tuning in to what the other person is saying, both verbally and non-verbally. Notice their tone of voice, facial expressions, and gestures. Are they expressing frustration, sadness, excitement, or uncertainty? Reflect back what you hear to ensure clarity. For example, it sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed by everything on your plate. This simple act of validation communicates respect and empathy, helping the other person feel seen and heard. Another key aspect of mindful communication is nonviolent communication, NVC, a framework developed by Marshall Rosenberg. NVC emphasizes expressing ourselves honestly while simultaneously listening to others with compassion. It encourages us to focus on 4 components: observations, feelings, needs, and requests. Instead of blaming or criticizing, we describe specific behaviors. When I see, share how they make us feel. I feel. Identify underlying needs because I need, and propose solutions. Would you be willing? For instance, instead of saying, "You never listen to me," try framing it as, "When I don't get a chance to finish my thoughts, I feel unheard because I value being understood." Could we take turns sharing our perspectives? This approach reduces defensiveness and opens the door to constructive dialogue. Mindfulness also plays a crucial role in regulating emotions during difficult conversations. When tensions rise, our instinct is often to react impulsively, raising our voice, shutting down, or lashing out. But mindfulness teaches us to pause before responding. Take a deep breath, ground yourself in the present moment and ask, what am I feeling right now? What triggered this reaction? How can I respond skillfully rather than react impulsively? By creating this brief gap between stimulus and response, we give ourselves the opportunity to choose words and actions that align with our values rather than our fears. Now let's delve deeper into specific strategies for strengthening relationships through mindfulness and mindful communication. Be fully present. Presence is the cornerstone of strong relationships. Too often, we divide our attention between conversations and distractions, checking our phones, thinking about work, or rehearsing what we'll say next. To cultivate presence, set aside distractions and focus entirely on the person in front of you. Make eye contact, nod occasionally, and use verbal cues like "I see" or "tell me more" to show engagement. Even brief exchanges like greeting a neighbor or chatting with a cashier become richer when approached with full attention. Practice empathy. Empathy is the ability to step into someone else's shoes and understand their perspective. While sympathy involves feeling sorry for someone, empathy goes deeper. It's about connecting with their emotions and experiences. To practice empathy, imagine what the other person might be feeling and why. Ask open-ended questions to encourage them to share more, such as, "What was that experience like for you?" Or, "How did that affect you?" Listening deeply and validating their feelings fosters intimacy and trust. Express appreciation regularly. Gratitude isn't just for journaling, it's a powerful way to nurture relationships. Take time to acknowledge the positive qualities and contributions of those around you, whether it's thanking a partner for supporting you, praising a colleague for their hard work, or complimenting a friend on their kindness. Expressing appreciation strengthens bonds and reinforces goodwill. Be specific in your gratitude. For example, instead of saying "thanks for everything," try "thank you for always making time to listen when I need to talk." Set healthy boundaries. Strong relationships require boundaries, clear limits that protect your well-being while respecting the autonomy of others. Setting boundaries mindfully involves communicating your needs assertively yet compassionately. For instance, if a friend frequently cancels plans last minute, you might say, "I enjoy spending time with you, but frequent cancellations leave me feeling disappointed. Can we agree to plan ahead so we can both commit?" Boundaries aren't about controlling others. They're about honoring yourself and fostering mutual respect. Resolve conflicts skillfully. Conflict is inevitable in any relationship, but it doesn't have to be destructive. Mindful conflict resolution begins with recognizing that disagreements stem from differing needs and perspectives, not character flaws. Approach conflicts with curiosity rather than judgment, seeking to understand the other person's viewpoint. Use "I" statements to express your feelings without assigning blame. For example, "I felt hurt when you didn't include me in the decision-making process." Focus on finding solutions that meet everyone's needs rather than winning arguments or proving points. Cultivate forgiveness. Holding on to grudges erodes relationships and weighs heavily on our hearts. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, it means releasing resentment so you can move forward with peace. To practice forgiveness, reflect on the situation with compassion for yourself and the other person. Acknowledge the pain caused, then consciously choose to let go of bitterness. You might write a letter even if you don't send it, articulating your feelings and intentions to forgive, or visualize placing the burden of anger into a river and watching it drift away. Forgiveness liberates both parties, paving the way for healing and reconciliation. Prioritize quality time. In today's fast-paced world, quality time often takes a backseat to busyness, yet investing time in relationships is essential for maintaining closeness. Schedule regular check-ins with loved ones, whether it's a weekly coffee date, a phone call, or a shared activity like cooking or hiking. During these moments, prioritize connection over productivity, ask meaningful questions, share stories, and laugh together. Small, consistent efforts build a reservoir of shared memories and deepen your bond. Embrace vulnerability. Vulnerability is the gateway to authentic connection. Many people fear opening up because they worry about rejection or judgment, but vulnerability fosters intimacy and trust. Share your thoughts, feelings, and struggles honestly, knowing that true relationships are built on mutual openness. If vulnerability feels daunting, start small. For example, admit when you're unsure about something or express gratitude for someone's support. Over time, you'll find that vulnerability creates a safe space for others to do the same. To illustrate the transformative power of mindful communication and relationship building, let me share the story of Rachel and Mark, a couple struggling with chronic misunderstandings and escalating arguments. Their marriage had become a battleground of accusations and defensiveness, leaving them both emotionally exhausted. On the brink of separation, they decided to attend a workshop on mindful communication. There, they learned techniques like active listening, nonviolent communication, and pausing before responding. At first, putting these practices into action felt awkward and unnatural, but gradually Rachel and Mark began to notice shifts. During heated discussions, they started taking breaks to cool down before continuing the conversation. They practiced reflecting back what the other person said, ensuring they truly understood each other's perspectives. Slowly, their interactions became less combative and more collaborative. They discovered that beneath their frustrations lay unmet needs for affection, recognition, and partnership that could be addressed through honest, compassionate dialogue. Years later, they credited mindful communication with saving their marriage, not by eliminating disagreements, but by transforming how they navigated them. Rachel and Mark's journey highlights an important truth. Relationships thrive when we prioritize connection over control. By approaching interactions with mindfulness and empathy, we create spaces where love, trust, and understanding can flourish. Now let's address a common misconception about relationships, that they should always feel easy or effortless. In reality, even the strongest bonds require effort, patience, and compromise. Challenges are not signs of failure, they're opportunities for growth. Every argument, misunderstanding, or disappointment carries lessons about ourselves and our partners. By facing these trials together, we deepen our capacity for resilience and compassion. Finally, let's touch on the importance of self-relationship, the foundation upon which all other relationships rest. Before we can connect authentically with others, we must first connect with ourselves. Practice self-awareness by tuning into your thoughts, emotions, and needs. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding, especially during tough times. Loving kindness meditation can be particularly helpful here, reinforcing your worthiness of love and acceptance. When you cultivate a healthy relationship with yourself, you bring greater authenticity and confidence to your interactions with others. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to reflect on your own relationships. Who are the people who matter most to you? How can you nurture those connections through mindful communication and presence? What habits or patterns might be hindering your ability to relate authentically, and how can you begin to shift them? Remember, relationships are living entities. They grow stronger with care and attention. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to create a daily practice that integrates meditation, mindfulness, and gratitude into your routine, no matter how busy life gets. Until then, carry this intention with you, to approach every interaction with openness and compassion, knowing that every relationship holds the potential for growth, joy, and profound connection. Chapter 9: Creating a Daily Practice. Small steps, big impact. Building a daily practice is one of the most transformative commitments you can make, not just for your mental and emotional well-being, but for every aspect of your life. Meditation, mindfulness, gratitude, and other tools we've explored throughout this journey are incredibly powerful when practiced consistently. Yet many people struggle to integrate these practices into their routines, often because they feel overwhelmed by time constraints or unsure where to start. The good news is that creating a sustainable daily practice doesn't require hours of effort or drastic lifestyle changes. It begins with small intentional steps that accumulate over time, leading to profound shifts in how you experience life. Let's begin by addressing a common misconception, that a daily practice must be elaborate or rigid to be effective. In reality, the best practices are those that fit seamlessly into your life, ones that feel nourishing rather than burdensome. Think of your practice as a garden. Each day you tend to it by planting seeds, watering them, and clearing away weeds. Some days you might have more energy to invest, other days simply showing up is enough. Over time, with consistent care, the garden flourishes, offering beauty, sustenance, and resilience. The same principle applies to cultivating inner peace and clarity. So, how do you create a daily practice that works for you? The key lies in designing a routine that aligns with your unique needs, preferences, and schedule. Here are some guiding principles and strategies to help you get started. Start small. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to overhaul their habits overnight. They dive headfirst into hour-long meditation sessions, rigorous gratitude journaling, and multiple mindfulness exercises, only to burn out within days. Instead, begin with bite-sized actions that feel manageable. For example, commit to meditating for just 3 minutes each morning, writing down one thing you're grateful for, or taking 5 mindful breaths before bed. These tiny efforts may seem insignificant at first, but they lay the foundation for lasting change. Anchor your practice to existing habits. Building new habits is easier when you attach them to existing ones, a technique known as habit stacking. Identify activities you already do daily, such as brushing your teeth, eating breakfast, or commuting to work, and lay your practice onto them. For instance, after brushing your teeth, take a moment to stretch and breathe deeply. While waiting for your coffee to brew, jot down something you're grateful for. By piggybacking on established routines, you reduce decision fatigue and increase the likelihood of sticking with your practice. Create a dedicated space. Environment plays a crucial role in shaping behavior. Having a designated space for your practice signals to your mind that it's time to focus and unwind. This doesn't need to be elaborate. A corner of your bedroom, a cozy chair, or even a quiet spot outdoors can suffice. Enhance the ambience with calming elements like candles, plants, or soothing music. Keep essential items nearby, such as a meditation cushion, journal, or favorite pen, so everything you need is within reach. Over time, this space becomes a sanctuary, a place where you return again and again to reconnect with yourself. Be flexible and adaptable. Life is unpredictable, and rigid adherence to a strict routine can backfire, leaving you feeling guilty or discouraged if you miss a session. Instead, adopt a flexible mindset. If you don't have time for a full meditation practice, try focusing on your breath for a few moments during a hectic day. If journaling feels overwhelming, simply write one sentence about how you're feeling. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Even brief, imperfect practices contribute to growth. Experiment and evolve. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to daily practice. What works for someone else might not resonate with you, and that's okay. Treat your practice as an ongoing experiment, exploring different techniques until you find what feels authentic and sustainable. For example, you might enjoy guided meditation, silent sitting, walking meditation, or body scans. You might prefer journaling in longhand or typing notes on your phone. Allow yourself the freedom to adapt and evolve as your needs and interests shift over time. Prioritize consistency over duration. Research shows that consistency matters more than length when it comes to building habits. Practicing for 5 minutes every day has a greater impact than meditating for 30 minutes once a week. Why? Because repetition strengthens neural pathways, making the practice feel natural and automatic. To ensure consistency, set realistic goals that account for your schedule and energy levels. If mornings are chaotic, carve out time in the evening instead. Find what works for you and stick with it, knowing that small, steady efforts yield big results. Use technology wisely. Apps, podcasts, and online resources can be invaluable tools for supporting your practice. Meditation apps like Headspace, Calm, or Insight Timer offer guided sessions tailored to various themes and durations. Podcasts provide inspiration and education while you commute or exercise. Online communities connect to you with like-minded individuals who share tips, encouragement, and accountability. However, it's important to use technology mindfully. Avoid letting screens dominate your practice. Balance digital tools with offline activities like journaling, reading, or spending time in nature. Reflect and celebrate progress. Regularly reflecting on your journey helps reinforce motivation and deepen commitment. At the end of each week, ask yourself, what did I learn? How did my practice support me during challenges? What adjustments could enhance my experience moving forward? Celebrate milestones, no matter how small. They remind you of how far you've come. For example, completing 7 consecutive days of meditation deserves recognition, as does noticing subtle shifts in your mood or perspective. Gratitude for your progress fuels continued growth. Now, let's explore specific practices you can incorporate into your daily routine, along with tips for maximizing their benefits. Morning practices. Setting the tone for the day. Mornings are an ideal time to establish a sense of calm and intention before the demands of the day unfold. Consider starting with a brief mindfulness exercise, such as mindful breathing. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and focus on your breath for 2 to 5 minutes. Notice the sensation of air entering and leaving your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, or the gentle expansion of your belly. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. Gratitude journaling. Write down 3 things you're grateful for, whether it's something tangible, like a warm bed, or intangible, like a supportive friend. Reflect on why these blessings matter to you. Intention setting. Take a moment to clarify your intentions for the day. Ask yourself, what qualities do I want to embody today? How can I show up with kindness, patience, and presence? Phrases like, today I choose to approach challenges with curiosity, or I will listen deeply to others, can guide your actions. Midday practices, recharging and refocusing. Life rarely unfolds according to plan, and midday is often when stress peaks. Incorporating short, rejuvenating practices can help you reset and regain clarity. Try mindful walking. Whether you're heading to a meeting, grabbing lunch, or simply stretching your legs, pay attention to the physical sensations of walking, the rhythm of your steps, the weight shifting from one foot to the other, the breeze against your skin. Conscious eating, instead of rushing through meals, savor each bite. Notice the flavors, textures, and aromas. Chew slowly and appreciate the nourishment your food provides. Mini meditation. Breaks. Step away from your desk or responsibilities for a few minutes to breathe deeply or scan your body for tension. Close your eyes if possible and imagine releasing stress with each exhale. Evening practices, winding down and reflecting. Evenings are perfect for winding down and processing the events of the day. Ending your day mindfully sets the stage for restful sleep and prepares you for tomorrow. Explore. Body scan. Meditation. Lie down or sit comfortably and bring your attention to different parts of your body, starting from your toes and working upward. Notice any areas of tension or relaxation without judgment. Daily reflection. Spend a few minutes reviewing your day. What went well? What challenges arose? And how did you respond? What lessons can you carry forward? This practice fosters self-awareness and gratitude. Loving kindness. Meditation. Silently repeat phrases of goodwill toward yourself and others, such as, "May I be peaceful," "May I be healthy," "May I live with ease." Extend these wishes to loved ones, acquaintances, and even those who challenge you. To illustrate the power of a daily practice, let me share the story of David, a busy entrepreneur who initially dismissed mindfulness as impractical given his hectic schedule. Between managing his business, raising a young family, and pursuing personal goals, he felt stretched thin and constantly stressed. On the advice of a mentor, David decided to give mindfulness a try, but on his own terms. He began with just 5 minutes of mindful breathing each morning, setting a timer to keep himself accountable. Gradually, he added gratitude journaling, jotting down one thing he appreciated before heading to work. During lunch breaks, he took short walks around the block, tuning into the sights and sounds of his surroundings. In the evenings, he ended his day with a quick reflection, noting one highlight and one area for improvement. At first, David doubted whether these small actions would make a difference, but over weeks and months he noticed significant changes. His mornings felt calmer, his afternoons less frantic, and his evenings more restorative. He became better at managing stress, communicating effectively with colleagues, and staying present with his family. Most importantly, he rediscovered a sense of joy and purpose that had eluded him for years. David realized that his daily practice wasn't just a chore, it was a lifeline, grounding him in the midst of chaos and reminding him of what truly mattered. David's journey underscores an important truth. Transformation happens incrementally, one step at a time. By committing to small, consistent practices, you create a ripple effect that touches every corner of your life. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to envision your ideal daily practice. What activities resonate with you? How can you weave them into your existing routine? What obstacles might arise, and how can you overcome them? Remember, your practice doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. In the next and final chapter, we'll bring everything together, reflecting on how Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness can serve as lifelong companions on your journey toward peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Until then, carry this intention with you to nurture your practice with patience and persistence, trusting that each small step brings you closer to the life you envision. Chapter 10, Bringing It All Together, a lifelong journey. We've reached the final chapter of our journey together, a moment to pause, reflect, and integrate everything we've explored so far. Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness are not isolated practices or fleeting trends. They're lifelong companions that offer guidance, wisdom, and solace in every season of life. This chapter is about bringing it all together, connecting the dots between the teachings, tools, and insights we've shared, and envisioning how they can continue to support you as you move forward on your path. At its core, this journey has been about transformation, not the kind that happens overnight, but the gradual, steady evolution of mind, heart, and spirit. Transformation begins with awareness. It starts when we recognize the patterns, habits, and beliefs that shape our experience of life and decide to approach them with curiosity rather than judgment. Whether it's learning to sit with difficult emotions, embracing impermanence, or cultivating gratitude, each step along the way invites us to see ourselves and the world more clearly. Let's revisit some of the key themes we've covered and explore how they weave together into a cohesive tapestry of growth and resilience. The Foundations, Buddhism's timeless wisdom. Buddhism provides a profound framework for understanding the human condition. Its teachings remind us that suffering arises from craving, attachment, and ignorance, but liberation is possible through wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. The Four Noble Truths illuminate the nature of suffering and the path to freedom, while the Eightfold Path offers practical guidance for living harmoniously. These principles aren't rigid doctrines, they're invitations to live with greater intention, compassion, and clarity. For example, right mindfulness teaches us to pay attention to the present moment without clinging to pleasant experiences or resisting unpleasant ones. Right effort encourages us to cultivate wholesome qualities like kindness and patience while abandoning unwholesome ones like anger and greed. And right livelihood challenges us to align our work with our values, contributing positively to the world. Together, these elements form a blueprint for ethical and meaningful living, one that honors both individual well-being and collective harmony. The practices, meditation and mindfulness as tools for growth. Meditation and mindfulness serve as anchors, grounding us in the present moment and helping us navigate life's ups and downs with grace. Through mindful breathing, we learn to steady our minds and regulate our emotions. Through loving-kindness meditation, we soften our hearts and extend compassion to ourselves and others. And through body scans, walking meditations, and other techniques, we deepen our connection to the physical and sensory aspects of existence. These practices aren't reserved for special occasions or quiet retreats. They're meant to infuse every aspect of daily life. When you eat, do so mindfully, savoring each bite. When you walk, tune into the rhythm of your steps and the sensations of movement. When you listen, give your full attention, fostering deeper connections with those around you. By integrating mindfulness into ordinary activities, you transform routine moments into opportunities for presence and joy. The shifts, gratitude, resilience, and relationships. Gratitude shifts our perspective, reminding us to focus on what's abundant rather than what's lacking. It trains us to notice beauty, kindness, and opportunity even in the midst of challenges. Resilience empowers us to face adversity with courage and adaptability, knowing that difficulties are temporary and often carry hidden lessons. And relationships, whether with family, friends, colleagues, or strangers, are the threads that connect us to something larger than ourselves. Mindful communication strengthens these bonds by fostering empathy, trust, and mutual understanding. Active listening, nonviolent communication, and vulnerability create spaces where authentic connection can flourish. Boundaries protect our well-being while respecting the autonomy of others, ensuring that relationships remain healthy and balanced. Forgiveness liberates us from resentment, paving the way for healing and reconciliation. Together, these practices help us build communities rooted in love, respect, and shared humanity. The integration, creating a sustainable daily practice. A daily practice isn't just a habit, it's a lifeline, grounding us in the midst of chaos and reminding us of what truly matters. Starting small, anchoring new habits to existing ones, and designing a dedicated space make it easier to stay consistent. Reflecting regularly and celebrating progress reinforce motivation and commitment, Over time, these efforts accumulate, leading to profound shifts in how we think, feel, and interact with the world. Your practice doesn't have to look a certain way, it simply needs to resonate with you. Some days it might involve sitting quietly for 20 minutes. Other days it could mean taking 3 mindful breaths before a meeting or jotting down one thing you're grateful for. What matters most is showing up consistently, trusting that even the smallest acts of mindfulness ripple outward, touching every area of your life. The philosophy: embracing life's challenges with grace. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable. But instead of seeing them as obstacles, we can view them as teachers, opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Impermanence reminds us that nothing lasts forever, giving us the courage to face change with equanimity. Non-self helps us let go of rigid identities, allowing us to flow with life's current rather than resist them. And interconnectedness fosters a sense of belonging, reminding us that we're never truly alone. These philosophical insights provide a foundation for navigating life's storms with resilience and grace. They teach us to meet adversity not with fear or denial, but with curiosity and compassion. They encourage us to embrace uncertainty, knowing that within it lies the potential for growth and transformation. And they remind us that peace isn't found in external circumstances. It's cultivated within ourselves, moment by moment. The ripple effect. Impact beyond yourself. One of the most beautiful aspects of this journey is its ripple effect. When you prioritize your own well-being, you become a source of light and inspiration for others. Your calm presence soothes those around you. Your acts of kindness spark chains of goodwill. Your willingness to be vulnerable creates safe spaces for others to open up. In this way, personal transformation contributes to collective healing, fostering a world that's more compassionate, empathetic, and interconnected. Think about the people who have influenced your life, the teachers, mentors, friends, and loved ones who modeled qualities like patience, generosity, and resilience. Now imagine becoming that person for someone else. By embodying the principles and practices we've discussed, you plant seeds of hope and healing that will continue to grow long after you're gone. Looking ahead, a lifelong commitment. As we bring this chapter and this video to a close, I want to emphasize that this isn't the end of your journey. It's merely the beginning. Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness aren't destinations. They're paths that unfold over a lifetime. There will be days when you feel deeply connected to these practices and others when doubt creeps in. That's okay. Growth isn't linear. It's a spiral, circling back to familiar themes with fresh insights and perspectives. To sustain your momentum, remember these guiding principles. Be patient with yourself. Change takes time and setbacks are part of the process. Celebrate progress, no matter how small. Stay curious. Approach life and your practice with openness and wonder, always eager to learn and grow. Lean on community. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, whether in person or online. Share your struggles and triumphs, knowing that you're part of something bigger than yourself. Trust the process. Even when results aren't immediately visible, know that your efforts are planting seeds that will blossom in due time. Finally, let me leave you with a story, one that encapsulates the essence of this journey. Imagine a young woman named Maya who embarks on a quest to find happiness. She travels far and wide seeking answers from gurus, philosophers, and wise elders. Each offers her valuable advice. Cultivate gratitude. Practice mindfulness. Embrace impermanence. Yet despite their wisdom, Maya remains unsatisfied, convinced that true happiness lies somewhere beyond her reach. One day, exhausted and disheartened, she sits beneath a tree and closes her eyes. For the first time, she listens, not to external voices, but to the stillness within. Slowly, she realizes that happiness isn't a destination. It's a state of being. It arises naturally when she lets go of striving, embraces the present moment, and opens her heart to whatever life brings. From that day forward, Maya dedicates herself to living fully, authentically, and mindfully. She discovers that happiness isn't something to chase, it's something to nurture, moment by moment, through simple acts of awareness and compassion. Maya's story mirrors our own. Happiness, peace, and fulfillment aren't found in grand achievements or dramatic transformations. They emerge from the quiet, consistent choices we make each day. By embracing life's challenges with grace, cultivating mindfulness, and nurturing meaningful connections, we create a life that feels rich, vibrant, and deeply satisfying. As you step into the next phase of your journey, carry this intention with you: to walk lightly upon the earth, breathe deeply, and live fully. Trust that you already possess everything you need to navigate life's twists and turns with wisdom and resilience. And remember, you're never alone. This community, this practice, and this timeless wisdom are here to support you every step of the way. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness. May it serve as a guiding light illuminating your path toward peace, purpose, and profound connection. Thank you for taking this journey with me today, for investing your time, energy, and presence in exploring how Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness can transform your life. This isn't just an ordinary video, it's an invitation to slow down, breathe deeply, and reconnect with what truly matters. As we bring this session to a close, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts to carry with you as you step back into the flow of your day, your week, your life. First, remember that growth is not about perfection, it's about progress. Every moment of awareness, every act of kindness, every breath taken mindfully contributes to the tapestry of your being. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Instead, focus on small, consistent steps. Whether it's pausing to notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground, expressing gratitude for a simple joy, or offering yourself compassion during a tough moment, these seemingly tiny actions ripple outward, shaping the quality of your days and the depth of your experiences. Second, trust yourself. Within you lies an innate capacity for resilience, wisdom, and love. Life's challenges may sometimes cloud your vision, making it hard to see your own strength. But know this, you are capable of far more than you imagine. The practices we've explored, mindful breathing, loving kindness, meditation, active listening, and so much more, are tools to help you uncover and nurture that potential. They're not meant to fix you because you're not broken. They're here to remind you of who you already are beneath the noise and distractions. Third, embrace the beauty of imperfection. Life is messy, unpredictable, and often uncertain. And yet within that messiness lies its magic. The cracks in our plans, the detours in our journeys, the moments when things don't go as expected. These are the spaces where growth happens. When you stumble, and you will, because stumbling is part of being human, be gentle with yourself. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd offer a dear friend. Remember, every misstep carries a lesson. Every failure holds a seed of opportunity. Fourth, lean into connection. While this journey is deeply personal, it's also profoundly communal. None of us walks this path alone. Whether it's through heartfelt conversations, shared silences, or acts of service, relationships remind us of our interconnectedness. They anchor us during storms and amplify our joys under sunny skies. So reach out to loved ones, to colleagues, to strangers. Extend a hand, share a smile, listen deeply. In doing so, you not only enrich their lives, but also nourish your own spirit. Finally, let this be a beginning, not an ending. What you've learned here is a foundation, a starting point for continued exploration and discovery. There's always more to uncover, more to practice, more to integrate into your daily life. Keep asking questions, keep seeking answers, and most importantly, keep showing up for yourself and for others. Before we part ways, I'd like to extend my deepest gratitude to you. Your willingness to engage with these ideas, to reflect on your own experiences and to commit to your growth inspires me. It reminds me why I embarked on this mission to create content for the Mindful Zone, to provide a space where people can come together to learn, grow, and heal. If you found value in today's session, I encourage you to subscribe, share this video with someone who might benefit, and join our growing community of mindful explorers. Together we can create ripples of positive change that extend far beyond ourselves. As we conclude, take a moment to sit quietly. Feel the weight of your body supported by the surface beneath you. Notice the rhythm of your breath, the steady inhale and exhale that sustains you. Allow yourself to simply be without judgment or expectation. Carry this sense of presence with you as you move forward. Let it guide you, ground you, and remind you of the infinite possibilities within each moment. Until next time, may you walk gently upon the earth, breathe deeply and live fully. May your heart remain open, your mind stay curious, and your spirit shine brightly. Namaste.